Hello and welcome to the Royal Blue podcast with me, Ian Croll. Joining me for this View from the Opposition Merseyside Derby match preview show is the ECHO's LFC writer Theo Squires. Theo, a warm, well, maybe a lukewarm welcome to the Royal Blue studio. How are things? All good?
Yeah, not too bad. It's a bit weird having a blue mic in front of me and all the blue backdrop in this new studio. I did have to be careful getting dressed this morning. Going, I probably shouldn't wear a red shirt. I probably shouldn't wear a blue shirt. So I've gone for a neutral grey.
Yeah.
Just playing it safe.
Well, some good advice there that you've taken on board yourself. You have crossed the divide, so does it feel weird being in the Royal Blue studio as opposed to the Liverpool Echo's Blood Red podcast studio?
Yeah, it does. But then it's also weird being in this seat because obviously my first time in the studio on Monday, I was hosting. I host Blood Red these days.
Yeah.
So nice to be the expert voice or expert in the air marks there. But yeah, hopefully this will be a good show, not too spiky for crossing the Mersey divide.
Yeah, well, this is actually the second type of show that we've done like this, The View from the Opposition. We did one last week with the Aston Villa podcast host, and we just thought we'd do it again. Obviously, Merseyside Derby coming up.
A lot easier when it's the derby, isn't it? Just tapping someone next to you in the office on the shoulder.
Well, we can do it in person as well,
Yeah.
so obviously that back and forth is probably a little bit better. But this is actually probably the first time we've ever been on a podcast together because I've never done Blood Red and you've never done Royal
You've
Blue.
always been behind the camera, haven't you?
I've always been producing. I was last night, first of all. Obviously, Liverpool played Atletico Madrid. I think Liverpool or yourself will have any hangovers heading into Saturday.
I'm
hoping,
tired.
fingers crossed.
But yeah, it's a strange one because if you didn't watch the game, it looks like, oh, it's Liverpool being jammy again. Another late winner, not played particularly well. But it's probably the best performance from them so far this season.
Right.
Like they scored 2 goals early on, and really they could have been 3-4 up. Like Mohamed Salah hit the post. Frimpong had a really good chance and he didn't quite connect properly. And then Llorente scores a couple of deflected goals. So it's like, a step in the right direction here. Liverpool's attacks linking up really, really well. And they've just got that resilience where 5 games in a row, getting another late winner. I said to Paul Gorst, Liverpool correspondent, after the equaliser to make it 2-2, surely they can't do it again. He goes, you know what, they will. They've got that habit now. They've got that taste for it. Sure enough, Virgil van Dijk on a corner right at the death. We'll see if they can make it 6 from 6 on Saturday. They've obviously got bad memories, don't they, of a few last-minute Merseyside derby winners for Liverpool over the years.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen from Everton this season, it's going to be different from them in the Merseyside derby. They look like they're playing well, high on confidence. They've got a couple of players that can cause Liverpool problems. It should be an entertaining game.
I mean, tongue-in-cheek, obviously, but how do Liverpool keep getting so lucky with these last-minute winners? It's that. How many is that now since the
5
season
in a row.
started? 5 in a row.
6 goals technically, if you include Salah's one against Bournemouth on the opening day, but 5 winners in a row. It's just the resilience there. Like I said on Blood Red a couple of weeks ago, it doesn't feel like, say, Jurgen Klopp's last season where there was so much emotion on it. Like Liverpool could go and get those late goals, but it was draining. There was no way you could keep that up. It wasn't sustainable. Whereas now they seem a lot more relaxed. They've got the foot on the ball. They're waiting, they're patient, trying to break through defences. If they've got set pieces, they can make it count. Like later on yesterday, there was a succession of corners and eventually Liverpool get the goal. Obviously, they've got the confidence of they won the league last year. They've got a lot of quality players that have joined the club. It's just what happens when you're those sides that are going for the titles. Like there's a reason we call it Fergie time for everything United did under Sir Alex Ferguson in the 90s and the noughties. Maybe you don't expect a side to come along and take up that mantle when they just won 1 league title, but it certainly shows something about Liverpool's mentality. Jurgen Klopp called them the mentality monsters, and that's back. Granted, I'd be very surprised if they make it 6 in a row. It's like that Mick McCarthy meme, isn't it? It can't go on like this, can it? It can. But surely not. It can't be 6. It can't keep going.
What did you describe Liverpool last night when I messaged you? Because I had a description for it as well.
Is it a demon club, devil club?
Demon club. You said demon club.
You said devil, didn't you?
I said devil club. I mean, I'm totally serious about that. You're obviously tongue-in-cheek. So certainly hope that the same things don't repeat themselves on Saturday against Everton. The agenda, no need to obviously explain really what we are going to speak about today. Today is the show where we talk about Everton and Liverpool, the 247th Merseyside Derby. I think that is right.
I'll take your word for it because you've got it written down.
Yeah, well, I got it from Wikipedia, to be honest. There's not much research into it. I just Google searched it and it came up. So, yeah, Before we do get into it properly, just a word from our sponsor, NordVPN. To get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/EFC. Our link will also give you 4 extra months on a 2-year plan. There is no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, and the link is in the podcast episode description. As always, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, give us a subscribe. Your support is greatly appreciated. We're not live today. I didn't want to put you through a live stream, to be honest, Theo, with all the comments that you may get handed out about. So
I got a few when I did a Newcastle one, never mind when it's Everton.
Well, I just thought a pre-record would be the most appropriate for today's show. So let's get into it. From your perspective, it's an interesting question because obviously you're from the red side and you obviously look on Liverpool to win. I'm from the blue side, want Everton to win. But how do Everton approach this game in order to get a win? From your point of view, assessing Liverpool's weaknesses.
For starters, you watch Burnley's performance last week and you create that with a bit more ability, a bit more flair. Like Burnley didn't really threaten Alisson Becker in goal, but Everton are going to be a much bigger threat on the counter-attack. You've got attacking players that can cause Liverpool problems in Jack Grealish and Dye as well. And that's maybe a weak point for Liverpool, that left-back slot at the moment, because we know Milos Kerkez got subbed in the first half against Burnley. He's had a couple of rash yellow cards. He likes to dive in. If you're running at him and you get that early yellow card, you could put him under pressure. He could get sent off or he could get substituted early. And if he's not starting and it's Andy Robertson, while he's been playing well in derbies in the past, did well last night against Atletico Madrid, he's not as quick as he used to be. I'm not saying his legs are gone, but he's ageing. So with Ndiaye, who we know's got a bit of pace, he's got a bit of trickery, hit Liverpool on the counter, trying to get down those fullbacks. That's something that you can look to exploit. It's a little bit different on the other side, where obviously Jack Grealish is playing so well because we don't know who's going to start for Liverpool at right back. Jeremy Frimpong did well last night. He's just coming back from a hamstring injury. Connor Bradley's just coming back from an injury as well. They're both quick players. But Frimpong, he's not the most physical. He relies on that pace, but it's a bit different if you make it a physical encounter.
Szoboszlai played there.
Szoboszlai's played a few there as well.
Is that right?
But I think he might move more into midfield. It's hard to say because you've got Alexis McAllister in there as well. Liverpool's summer business has made it go from, say, a starting 11, a clear favourite 11, to 14, 15 players, and those are probably 2 of the positions up for grabs. But I look at Everton's side, and those are your key men, Ndiaye and Grealish. If you get them on the ball, hit Liverpool on the counter, they are the ones who are going to cause problems. And then it's who's up front for Everton. Like Beto has caused Virgil van Dijk problems in the past, but Van Dijk has had a very good start to the season. Obviously, he gets the goal against Atletico, but he's been so solid defensively. Now, if you're David Moyes, you probably go to Beto, target Konate, because Konate's been a bit shaky at times. Sometimes he's played really well, but then he's mistiming jumps. He's going into challenges a bit too much, and it's easy to turn him. So it's just who's getting the better of those individual battles on the day. And Everton, I'm not sure if they'll shape up in a back 4 or a back 5, but they are very good at having that low block, that deep defensive line, and frustrating sides. And in a Merseyside derby, when it's a 12:30 kickoff, that could go either way. Like, we're not sure how Liverpool are going to come out and perform here. Like, if it's going to be like the Burnley game where they're frustrated and they're trying to go to the last minute to get a late goal, or if they can start like they did against Atletico, get a couple of early goals and really take control of the game. But as I said earlier, Everton got good confidence at the moment. They're playing well. The star men are stepping up. It should be one of the closer derbies we've seen in recent years.
It is interesting, isn't it? Obviously, Liverpool are undefeated so far. They are scoring goals, but they do seem to be conceding goals. Would you see it as a strength of Everton to either sit back and play on the counter attack like you maybe just mentioned there? I don't expect us to be going gung ho. I think what we've discussed on the Royal Blue podcast over the past couple of weeks, certainly since following the Leeds game, is that Everton have almost been taking the game to the opposition. Like I say, not in a gung-ho manner. It's always been a bit more measured and balanced, but rather than sitting back, Everton have had a bit more control of the ball and looking to make things happen. Obviously, from our point of view, we want to be in Liverpool's faces. We want to make sure that we don't give Liverpool that much respect, but it does seem to be that against Liverpool, maybe sitting back, obviously holding your nerve to an extent and making sure that you don't concede too much possession and chances, but hitting them on the break. I mean, look at the Bournemouth game. That was a case in point, isn't it?
Well, that's how Liverpool play. They're so open. Like, they've got fullbacks that like to get forward. They've got centre-backs that like to get forward. If you hit them on the counter and you do it right, you could have up 3 against 2, 4 against 2. And granted, Van Dijk's very quick. He's very strong. It's hard to get past him.
Yeah.
Konate on his day as well. But if you've got enough bodies there, you are going to cause them problems. And midfield as well, it depends who's in that, whether it's McAllister alongside Gravenberch or Szoboszlai. What we've not mentioned as well is Everton and set pieces. Obviously, very good at set pieces. And Liverpool were a little bit more vulnerable on them this year, partly because the changes at fullback. Frimpong's obviously not the tallest. Kirkes, not the tallest. We saw him get caught out for a cross against Newcastle. Then Newcastle's equaliser in that game to make it 2-2. That was a free kick from deep where Konate misjudged it. Like Liverpool, because they've signed so many players, they are a little bit vulnerable on those set pieces, and the defensive link-up's not quite right there because you've got a couple of new bodies in there. So there are certainly areas that Everton can look to exploit, and just so happen to be areas that Everton are particularly strong at, because they can frustrate sides. They can sit deep. They can take the sting out of the game, but then hit them on the counter. And you know how good they are at set pieces. We saw it in the derby at Goodison last year. We saw it in the Goodison derby the year before as well. Everton know what they're good at. Moyes knows what they're good at. And while he doesn't have the best derby record, it could play into their hands this weekend.
Yeah, I guess Moyes' derby record is not great at all, and there's one thing to consider as from a psychological point of view, I guess. Just going back to the fullback situation, obviously 2 new fullbacks for Liverpool in Kirkes and Frimpong. Kirkes, I don't think it's any secret that he hasn't been fantastic since coming in. I picked up a couple of bookings and then he's had to be substituted. From a right side point of view, I think it's a little bit ironic that from my point of view I'd prefer the actual fullback, the designated fullback in Frimpong, to be playing over Szoboszlai. Is that strange outlook for you?
It's hard because I honestly don't know who should be Liverpool's first choice right back at the moment, because they all seem to be doing pretty well. Like, say Liverpool are in a Champions League final tomorrow, it would be a big selection dilemma for Arne Slot there. Sometimes it's easy just to put Szoboszlai there because then you're not having to drop one of your quality midfielders. And the way Liverpool play, they do have that right back moving central, almost becoming a second number 10 at times. And Szoboszlai is obviously very good for that. He's good on the ball. He's got such an engine on him as well. And he's proven he's actually pretty good defensively against Arsenal and against Newcastle United. Now, Jack Grealish should be a very different customer for him, someone who's known how to get past the man, attract those fouls, win those free kicks. Now, with Frimpong, he's quick. He's going to beat you in any leg race, so you're trying to get him to lunge in. And with Bradley, he's not been at his best since coming back from injury. It's been difficult for him because he's got the new competition and you've got Szoboszlai there. So we've got these 3 players competing for a place, and it's hard for any of them to get rhythm. And it just depends who you put there. I couldn't say who's going to start with any confidence, whereas on the left-hand side, I'd imagine Robertson will get the nod over Kirkes. They've all got their strengths. They've all got their weaknesses. It's just, if you're Everton, exploited them. Like, Grealish wins free kicks. Grealish is so good at being his man, getting balls into the box. If it's Frimpong there, he's going to leave space in behind, so you could maybe get down that flank, get in behind him. But if you're not timing that pass perfectly, he's going to get back and probably steal it off you because he is that quick. It's kind of Bradley's more physical. He might concede a foul, but he could also shove you off the ball fairly and then lead a Liverpool counter-attack, and then you've got bodies up the wrong end of the pitch. Liverpool do you on the counter. And Szoboszlai is just a machine. He's everywhere. There's a reason why he's been such a success at right back, because he's this player who can be an extra midfielder whilst also doing the defensive side.
Yeah, I think, just touching on your last point there, I think from what I was saying with regards to hoping Frimpong actually plays as the right back, it's just a compliment to Szoboszlai. But then, no doubt, if he doesn't play right back, Szoboszlai, he's probably going to be somewhere in the middle of the park.
You'd imagine so, yeah.
So either way, he's going to be on the pitch. In terms of a defensive point of view from Everton, how do we stop Liverpool? Is it difficult? Is it impossible? Obviously, seems to be scoring goals. Not at will, I guess. You're scoring a lot of goals, conceding a lot as well. But Everton's defence has certainly been one of the positives since the season started. Kept a couple of clean sheets again against Aston Villa on Saturday, even without, on paper, I guess the best, defender in Jared Brandtwaite. It's been a back 2 of Tarkowski and Michael Keane, with chopping and changing of full-backs, similar to what Liverpool are doing. I guess maybe Everton's have been a little bit forced because of injury. But how do we stop Liverpool from an attacking point of view?
Well, it might sound strange to say it considering Liverpool top of the Premier League, having won every game, but it's still a good time to play them because the new signings are still gelling. They are still adapting. Liverpool aren't at their best. Like the moments when they have won games, it's individually things coming together. Like suddenly they get a pass through or a player pops up at the right moment to score. It's a moment of magic. It's not that free-flowing football that we've seen from Liverpool in the past, whereas Atletico was the first sign of more of that link-up play. But that came from Alexander Isak being up front, someone who's an experienced Premier League striker, as opposed to Hugo Ekitike, who I'd imagine is going to start the Merseyside Derby. You've got Florian Wirtz there as well, and I wasn't surprised to see him play better in the Champions League game because you get a little bit more time on the ball, you get a little bit more protection from the referees. Whereas if you're Everton, you target him early doors, don't you? You get a bit physical with him, don't give him any time on the ball, don't let him turn you. If you stop him playing, Liverpool are then going to have to look to get it out wide. They've got to try and find a different way to break you down. Mo Salah's been very isolated in some games, so if you're leaving him on the right touchline and you limit in his impact, that's one way to stop Liverpool as well. But the quality these players have got, they can still create those individual moments. And even if they don't, they can force a mistake, like wing a penalty in the last minute at Burnley. So you've got to be alert from the very first kick to the very last. What plays into Everton's hands is there isn't that unity between the Liverpool attack yet. Mohamed Salah has said it. Alisson Becker has said it. These players know it is going to take time. And while they're not quite on the same wavelength, you can take advantage. We saw it at Burnley where Liverpool had time on the ball, they had space, but the passing wasn't crisp. So it wasn't perfect. They were having to take an extra touch, and that gave Burnley the chance to, right, we can intercept that or we can steal that off your toes. You don't have the time now to get it in the box. And if you're forcing them to be frustrated, get crosses in, we can head it out. Everton got that strength, haven't they? You've said there, Keane, Tarkowski, mountains, aren't they? Any crosses that are coming in, they should be able to deal with them quite well. Hugo Ekitike, he's had a good start to his Liverpool career. He's a big lad. He likes to drop deep, but he could also find himself being bullied a little bit in a Merseyside derby by these two centre-backs. So it's just winning those individual battles, keeping them quiet and making sure that you're fully alert from the very start to the very end.
And just on Salah, obviously being Liverpool's best player over the course of the past couple of years, scoring, hundreds of goals. But I've heard you say yourself that Salah's not been at his optimum. He hasn't been playing probably to the best of his ability. Can Everton take advantage of that? And I guess just coming back to the fullback situation, Mykolenko, who may or may not play due to injury, he's always had, I'd say, the best of Salah. Salah's always scored goals against Everton, but Mykolenko's always done a very good job. If Salah comes up against James Garner, then it's obviously a different test for him. Will Salah be hoping that it's a James Garner as a left back, or hoping that it's a Mykolenko as a left back, knowing that he's played against him previously?
I don't think it will concern him at all, to be honest. I think Salah's got that mentality. He doesn't worry about the opposition. Like, he knows that he doesn't have to be at his very best from the first minute to the last because he's so alert that he can take advantage of those moments. Like, he was poor against Burnley. He didn't really have a kick in the 90 minutes, but then he goes and scores the winning penalty. He was much more involved against Atletico Madrid. On another night, he probably gets 2 goals, 2 assists, goes away with 1 of each. But it's been a strange start to the season for him. We saw him miss his penalty against Crystal Palace in the Community Shield. He scores against Bournemouth, gets the assist against Newcastle. But he's still quiet in those games. He's not involved as much as you want him to be. He's isolated. He's out wide. You've not got him in the penalty area. But that's Mohamed Salah. He doesn't have to be involved because he'll still, if you give him the opportunity, score. He'll still assist. So he's a very difficult player to keep quiet properly. So with Mykolenko, I suppose, he's a natural fullback. You'd imagine he'll find that a little bit more natural against him. But at the same time, James Garner's right-footed, isn't he? So Salah cuts inside. Maybe that's a little bit easier for him to stop him getting into the box, to crowd him out. But then you've got Garner going inverted. If, say, Frimpong or Szoboszlai's there, well, they're then going out wide, and Salah's just going to play it to them to get a cross in.
You've really thought this through, haven't you?
I'm just making this up on the spot, mate. So yeah, it's just so many different nuances here of how it could play out. Yeah. Like, Salah doesn't have to be at his best; he can still punish sides. We've seen that in Merseyside derbies before, but it is strange that this season, considering he usually starts so well, to see him not be at those levels.
Who's going to be the difference maker then for either side? Whoever wins, do you think? obviously from an Everton point of view, you're looking at the likes of, you've already mentioned it, but a Jack Grealish and Illiman and Dye.
And Dye for Everton offensively. Pickford's usually a big story, isn't he, in Merseyside derbies? So if Liverpool are playing well, creating chances, I think he's already had a lot of saves, hasn't he, this season? So he could be Everton's hero there. Get another victory for a 0-0 draw or 2. Is that a 0-0 win? What do you call it after the last one? 2-0 win.
Listen, you're on the Royal Blue podcast. You can't,
I'll be good.
You can't come on insulting now.
For Liverpool, it's going to be those offensive players because we're seeing they're a little bit shaky defensively, but the heroes are stepping up and they're still getting wins. So if they need another late goal or that moment of magic, you'd imagine it'll be a Salah or a Cody Gakpo. He's done it in derbies as well. But then you've also got to throw in the caveat of you could be getting Alexander Isak coming off the bench here, and what a moment that could be for him, £125 million man, if he goes and gets a winner on his Premier League debut for Liverpool. That squad is that good. You can't fall asleep on any of them. So for Everton, as I've already said, it's those individual battles have to be solid defensively. Pickford's going to play a big part, and then you look into those wide men, because those are the two players, Grealish and Ndiaye, who could make the difference if Liverpool aren't 100% at the races.
What about Beto? And the only reason really I bring it up is because he's taken a lot of flack since the Aston Villa game with missing 1 or 2 chances, but he does score big goals for Everton, or he has scored big goals for Everton. Scored against Liverpool. He gave Van Dijk a whole host of problems.
Should have scored, or was he disallowed at Anfield? He had a chance, didn't he? Was it when he?
Well, he went through on goal,
hit the post.
It was either went wide or hit the post. Yeah, he was literally should have scored. But I think from an Everton perspective, we think that he could, ruffle up Liverpool's back line, certainly Van Dijk, certainly Canate. So there's a lot of people who are still unsure of Beto, but they're still basically saying that Everton should start with Beto on Saturday because of his physicality and what he can offer in terms of getting in on the shoulder of the fence and getting in and behind as well.
Yeah, I'd imagine that's the wise decision, because you've obviously got Barry as well, but he's still very young, isn't he? Still learning Premier League football. Well, that makes him an unknown quantity. You've seen Beto cause Van Dijk issues in the past, and it wasn't as though Van Dijk was in a bad moment there either. He's captain Liverpool to a Premier League title. He's just started the season so well, so you'd like to think from a Liverpool point of view, he'll have the control of that. But as we've said, Canate is very hot and cold at the moment. His contract situation's maybe playing on his mind a little bit. He's not been flawless, and when you've got a big physical striker there who's going to cause you problems, it can lead to mistakes. Like we were seeing it last night from Canate, and we've seen it all season, where he'll mistime a jump or he'll lunge in too quickly, and then you've turned him, you're in on goal, and you're relying on the pace of Van Dijk to bail him out here. Everton, they need to get bodies around Beto. You can't just lump it up to him and rely on him to do it all himself. But I think that's what they've added to the squad in terms of Grealish wants to get forward and Dye wants to get forward, and he's got more rhythm now, isn't he? Because he got a few injuries last year, was in and out the side, but he's obviously a very talented player. Be interesting to see who's in the midfield as well, whether it be like Dewsbury Hall at number 10.
Yeah, I mean, I think Moyes will probably stick with similar to what he's done over the past couple of weeks. Probably Dewsbury Hall as the number 10 and Dye on the right with Grealish on the left. So, yeah, the problem Everton have got at this moment in time, everything it seems to be key around the left-back situation, because if Mikalenko is injured, then that just means James Garner is slotting in as the versatile utility player on the left-hand side, and then that kind of throws up a whole host of problems for Everton's midfield then, because Idrissa Gueye would probably more than likely be in there, but then it's who's alongside Idrissa Gueye sitting as the likely deeper holding midfielder. He went with Tim Edebouman against Aston Villa, who did okay to start off with, but then faded as the game went on. However, we've got Malin Roll, who's come in, who came on as a sub, and by all accounts did relatively okay for the debut. So it'd be interesting to see if David Moyes is going to do that. But I do think the kind of from 4/5, including Beto and so Kane and Dewsbury Hall, Grealish and Dye and Beto, so the 4 I can count. They kind of pick themselves.
Yeah, and like Dewsbury Hall, he's had a good start, hasn't he, to his Everton career?
Yeah,
and he probably works well for this sort of fixture, because he's not what you'd say is a natural number 10 in terms of Everton are going to have to be a little bit more defensive, aren't they, and controlled. So you want your number 10 to drop deeper, be that extra body in midfield. And you're going to need that against this Liverpool midfield, because Gravenberch's had such a good start to the season. Szoboszlai has, if it's him. McAllister, you could maybe target a little bit, because he missed the end of last season with an injury, came into pre-season late, missed Newcastle with a little knock, obviously took a heavy whack to the ankle against Burnley. He's gets into physical battles anyway, but that's maybe something you can exploit. And with Florian Wirtz, that first Merseyside derby, when he's still adjusting to the physicality, having that extra body in midfield is not going to do Everton any harm at all. Like if you knock him off the ball early on, ruffle his feathers, you can maybe unsettle Liverpool a little bit there, and you get the ball in that midfield area, and then you're supporting Ndiaye, you're supporting Grealish, you're supporting Beto. It's again hitting Liverpool on the counter. You've got physical players that can cause side problems, but it's about playing Everton's game, not letting Liverpool dictate proceedings. We'll just see how it turns out.
Who's most likely to make a mistake from a Liverpool point of view then? I know you've talked about the weaknesses maybe in fullback, still trying to find their feet a little bit. If Kirkes plays, Everton surely got to target him down that left-hand side.
Yeah, I'd say so. I don't think he will start. I think Robertson did well enough last night to keep his place, and with it being a Merseyside derby, it seems like a sensible thing to have the experience of Andy Robertson in. But as we've said, Robertson's not as quick as he used to be. He's very experienced, but we've seen him get targeted before by the likes of, say, Bukayo Saka against Arsenal. And Ndiaye maybe doesn't have the same pace, but he's still a very threatening player. Liverpool, because they attack with so many bodies forward, you can hit them on the counter and get in behind. If it's not going to be the left back, it's going to be Konate. And when you've got Beto there, who can be this big physical presence, if he's on his game, we've seen him target Liverpool's defenders in the past and get the better of them, he could really get under his skin there. And Konate's been fortunate in Merseyside derbies before, hasn't he, to not get a sending off.
Certainly has.
So those are the two to watch, I think. Kirkes if he starts, and if not, Konate. It's hard to say on the right back side because we just don't know who's going to start there. But Van Dijk's had a brilliant start to the season, so he's the one solid in that back four that Liverpool can rely on. But he's going to have to be at his best to marshal the rest of them and try and get a clean sheet. When we've seen Liverpool shipping goals, there's no guarantee that they're going to be able to keep a clean sheet.
Okay, just before we come on to predictions and finish off, it's probably worth mentioning the referee. Obviously, Dad in England will take charge of Saturday's Merseyside derby. Tony Scott came up with a fantastic stat, which he did tweet on his Twitter page. So Everton have only lost one of the 11 matches Dad in England has taken charge of. And with Liverpool, he's officiated Liverpool on 5 occasions in the Premier League, with Liverpool winning just once.
What was the one? Or has he not said?
He hasn't actually said in that, so it'll be interesting. We need to find that out. We need to fact check that following on from this show. I just don't want the referee to have an overriding bearing on the game, which always seems to be the case, or VAR. I know it's obviously prominent in modern day football, so there's a high probability that something's going to happen. Yeah. But in terms of those stats, which are quite funny, interesting, is that any bearing for you on whether Liverpool are going to win this game or not?
Well, I may be naive, but I never really paid too much attention to the referee.
Liverpool don't need to, do they?
You get penalties anyway, don't you? Last minute winners. But no, I've always not bothered thinking about the referees, because if you concern yourself about the referees, you're just going to make yourself angry. You're going to frustrate yourself. Whereas
it does happen.
They control the game. They call the shots. They make mistakes. It can't affect how the team plays. Like Liverpool, Everton, whoever you support, whoever you follow, they've got to play their game and try and win regardless of the man in the middle. So I try and not let it get the better of me. But interesting stats, as you've said. Be interesting to see what the 5 games are and what Everton's 11 games are.
He probably needs to even it up now that we've said this live on the...
Liverpool get a dodgy penalty, but then Liverpool would have been given a dodgy penalty against Atletico for a handball that clearly didn't touch anyone's hand if it wasn't for him going to check the VAR monitor. So I'd imagine there's going to be... we always have a penalty or a red card in these Merseyside derbies, don't we? There's always something.
Always something.
And then we see Arne Slot grumbling about set pieces and number of free kicks Everton got at Goodison last year. With it being an earlier kickoff, it's going to be a little bit different, isn't it? It's not going to be under the lights. You're relying on the crowd to be up from it from the start, but it could be a sleepy start. And then what the referees call for that first heavy tackle, that can change it, can't it? What we saw last year, the McAllister one, where he's got away.
Good challenge.
Was a good challenge, was it? Okay, you're sticking with that. There always seems to be this big talking point when we come out of Merseyside derbies. So I'd imagine it's not going to be any different on Saturday. But come on. Everton fan here, you'd be surprised if Everton walk away from this game having won at Anfield.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've won once since 1999, and even then it was
behind closed doors.
So, but records are there to be broken, aren't they, as they say? So we will see what happens. I guess this is the perfect time to give predictions.
I'll go 2-1 Liverpool.
Okay, which is expected. I fully expected you to predict the Liverpool win yesterday on Wednesday's Royal Blue podcast show, I said 1-1, which I felt was a positive way to go, to be totally honest. I do think Everton have got a really good chance of scoring with Liverpool's not so much leaky defence, but certainly the weakest part of the team. And I'd just be really interested to see how Everton and David Moyes is going to set his team up.
I could cry it in. I'd shake on a draw now.
Would you really? Yeah.
It helps that Liverpool have beaten Arsenal, which you didn't necessarily expect, and they won at St James's Park, which you didn't necessarily expect. They can afford a draw in a Merseyside derby because they'd still be top of the table. But you'd like to think they've got a bit more about them.
Well, I can shake on it right now. I'll take a draw because it keeps Everton.
We say that every derby, though. Before every derby.
There's no point in playing these derbies, really, is there?
Just take a draw. Home and away. 1-1 draw. Everyone's happy.
I'm surprised, actually, that you're saying that you take a draw. I understand the context of it because Liverpool have won games that you may not have expected them to win, but Liverpool beat Everton at Anfield more often than not.
Yeah, I just think Everton are more of a threat this year.
Okay.
Like, they've started well and normally don't start well. Yeah. It's a different prospect with David Moyes in there. And it's not like when you're under Sean Dyche and you're going, Everton, best they're going to do is 17th here. Or Frank Lampard, where he's not that good a manager in terms of experience in the Premier League. Moyes is very experienced. They've signed good players. They've got a really good three behind that striker. And granted, if you'd gone and signed someone who's a bit more proven in the Premier League, I think I was saying to one of my friends the other day, if you'd put, say, Raul Jimenez in that Everton team for 18 months, 2 years, he's not going to cost the world, but you know he's going to get you 10, 15 goals a season, then you can take that next step. But you've still got the quality in that three behind the striker that he's going to get goals and you can cause teams problems. Everton aren't just this sit back, defend, try and play for a draw, hit you on the break side anymore. They can go and beat sides. They can go and beat good sides as well. So I just feel like it's going to be more entertaining. It's not going to be as one-sided a Merseyside derby as we've maybe seen at Anfield in the past.
I think without stating the obvious, obviously Everton have got to remain defensively solid, but it's about progressing the ball up quickly up the field when they've given that opportunity. But I mentioned it yesterday, Key. Everton have had chances against Liverpool in the past, even when they haven't played well, and they just haven't taken them. It's got to change from our point of view. Otherwise, you're never going to win at Anfield. It is about taking those chances, and those chances are few and far between. You just look back at the better one last season where he's through on goal. He does well against Van Dijk and Konate. To an extent, he almost makes them look silly. Goes through on goal, should score, and he doesn't. Like that is a chance that
it's a big turning point in games.
Got to take.
Got to take those chances, take advantage of those moments, because if you don't, the Anfield crowd's going to react. The Liverpool players are going to react, and then it's gone from being within your grasp to it falling away.
I tell you what, if we are level with 10 minutes to go, or even 1-0 up or 2-1 up with 10 minutes to go, my nerves are going to be all over the place. If that happens
though, and then they go and send on Isak or Chiesa, like Everton nerves will be even more because you're expecting another Liverpool late goal.
Exactly. So it's going to be interesting. Final thoughts then before we go. Obviously, we will find out Saturday 12:30. What did following on from the game? We'll know the score anyway.
Yeah, as I've said, I expect it's going to be a good game. Nice bit of football there. It's not going to be as one-sided as previous Merseyside derbies. You just want to see a good spectacle, don't you? You don't want to see the referee
and an Everton win.
Of course you do. You don't want to see the referee have too much of a say on it. You want the play to go, just let it go. Let us play. Let's have a good football match. The fans can enjoy it. Obviously, Liverpool fans, Liverpool supporters, Liverpool journalists, we want Liverpool win. We want to see them protect that 100% winning record, extend the lead at the top of the table. New signings doing well. Mohamed Salah getting another goal. But I just think it's going to be a really tight game with both sides causing each other problems.
Grealish scores the winner, I reckon. That's my prediction, even though I've just said 1-1.
That's a 1-1 win.
Fair enough. Okay, well, that is all for today's show. Just a reminder, to get the best discounts off your NordVPN plan, go to the podcast episode description box. You will find nordvpn.com/EFC. Please remember to give us a like and subscribe to the channel. As always, drop us some 5-star reviews on Apple and Spotify. Most importantly, enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. I've been Ian Croll, joined by Theo Squires, and this has been the Royal Blue Podcast.